So, somebody actually left me a comment on the video I made about becoming a programmer in Japan, and I sat on it for a couple of weeks, and then I finally got back to the guy and was just like, gave this 1-2 sentence answer. And, honestly, that's just disrespectful. I made this channel, and here I have someone actually engaging with the content, and that's like the best that I could do for him. And you know what? It's not me. I'm not gonna let that be me. So, you know what, man? This one's for you. So, right off the top, no, I am not a programmer in Japan. This is not the happy arc of my underdog story yet. The simplest and lamest answer is the one that I gave in the comments, but it's also the true answer. I mean, that's what happened. I got the slightest bump up at work, and I've been kind of afraid to jump ship since then. It's not that I've lost the motivation, it's just that I'm afraid of making my situation worse. Coronavirus aside, if I were to leave and start a brand new company right now, I'd be low man on the totem pole, and I would have to prove myself pretty much for the first time as a competent developer. At least in a professional capacity. I mean, I believe that I know what I'm doing. I think I'm okay, but I've never had a real job, 9 to 5 at a tech company on a W-2. I just don't have that kind of experience. Aside from freelancing and personal projects, the closest I ever got was volunteering my services as an unpaid intern to a startup, which was an idea that I lifted directly from Jonah Hill's speech in the beginning of The Wolf of Wall Street. Because if you don't know me very well, then I'll let you know that one of the forms of escapism that I often engage in is pretending that I'm fictional characters from movies and TV shows that I like. How about the fact that I ate my son? To be honest, I was probably even doing a fake voice when I was talking to the guy. But, he actually signed me on, and that, was mostly just WordPress, but we'll call it a learning experience. But before I left New York, really, I was just doing that, self-study, and going to, and I'm doing air quotes now, developer meetups, which immediately brought me back to the trauma of the 8th grade formal. Like, as soon as I walk into these things, I just know that my night's gonna consist of standing off to the side, sipping ginger ale by myself while everybody else pairs off and gets ready to go make out to Hooba Stank or whatever was popular that year. And it sucked too, because I really wanted to be there. These people, they all had the jobs that I wanted to have. They were talking about the stuff that I wanted to talk about. I really wanted to be part of that club. You know in Narcos, when Pablo Escobar finally gets elected to the Colombian Congress or Parliament or whatever they were, and he's so stoked to be there, and then he goes, and then they all boo him out of there, and they're he's an imposter, and they shame him, and he has to leave, and he's all sad. But it doesn't really matter, because he's still Pablo Escobar, right? He leaves, and his hot girlfriend is there to make him feel better, and all of his best friends that are murderers, and they're like, hey, let's just go shoot machine guns and play with tigers and forget about it. I didn't have that. I would have to leave these places and then go back to my apartment in Astoria by myself to play Red Dead Redemption alone, which I couldn't even enjoy because, the main character is a real man, so removed from just anything and everything that I am. I can't even pretend that I could fish like him. I don't even like to touch the fish to take them off the hook, so I don't go fishing. And in spite of all that, I have tried to keep my head in the game. I gotta work on these personal projects, build up the portfolio. It's just, I haven't had a lot of great ideas recently. Take, for example, the Mothman tracker, an inspiration which came to me after watching the 2002 Richard Gere film, The Mothman Prophecies. And without getting terribly technical, basically, The idea here was to demonstrate my competency in wiring together a front end, a database, and an API that would let people share Mothman sightings via an interactive Google map. I mean, that's got to be kind of cool, right? It's at least a little bit impressive. Unfortunately, Moth Maps kind of died on the vine when I was unable to really pitch the idea to the Mothman community, which it is a real thing. I did find them on Facebook, and despite being seemingly nice folk, it just once again felt like another club, another group in which I would never really truly belong, I mean, the Mothman tracker got a little bit of engagement, it got some likes, but still less than the one guy who just makes sexually explicit posts about the Mothman. And that's kind of where my head's just been at lately, not in thinking about making love to the Mothman, but in the fact that I'm tapped, like that scene in The Sopranos right before Tony beats up Davey Scatino in the office of the camping store because he doesn't have his money, and he's like, "Where's my money?" And then he's just like, "I'm tapped." Yeah, that's how I feel. I just feel tapped. So, I don't know. I'm definitely not going to give up because, someone who's definitely not me keeps getting unmatched with immediately on dating apps when they say they're an English teacher. So I'm going to keep at this. Definitely leave me a comment if you have any ideas or advice for me, or if you just want to call me a loser. That's cool too. And I'll see you next time.